Good Saturday morning, and welcome to another exciting edition of Outdoors with Larry Ray on 790 The Bet. Brought to you proudly by the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency, B&M Poles, and Ducks Unlimited. Now, here's your host, Larry Ray.
Hey, good Saturday morning. Welcome to Outdoors with Larry Ray as we talk outdoors every Saturday morning. Good morning to all you folks in Brownsville on 1520 AM and 95.3 FM, in Jackson on News Talk 101.5, and, of course, right here every Saturday morning in Memphis from 9 to 10:30 on AM 790, part of the Odyssey family of stations as we roll into our 25th year on the air. And we're going to kind of give a little taste of everything this morning. Shelby McCall, of course, is pushing the buttons for us, but I wanted to kind of put a wrap-up, if we can, on the 2024-25 duck hunting season in the Mid-South. We're going to talk a lot about that. I also wanted to bring in that we've got a big event going on out at Ames Plantation. You folks know how much I enjoy watching the Bird Dog National Championship. In the 126 years that it's been held, this is the big one out there with 55 dogs nominated and entered. One scratch, and it's going to take a long time. We may be still running in the fall. I don't know. But we're going to get a report from the Ames Plantation in the last segment of today's show. Then we got a big event coming up next weekend with the Mid-South Fly Fishers with Jamie Rouse is coming in from Heber Springs, Arkansas to put on a big production. So we're going to devote a segment to the Mid-South Fly Fishers, which has been around for a long time. And we're going to talk about that big event. But we're going to devote a great portion of this show to the grizzly veteran over there sitting there looking at me. He and I, we're going to put our 2 years together, our ages and everything like that. And we have Pat Pitt in the studio with us on this Saturday morning. Good morning, Pat.
Good morning, Larry.
I appreciate you scrounging up and getting here. Are you in depression? Are you in duck overseason depression, or do you get over it now?
Well, I slept for about the last 2 days. I'm ready to go again.
All right, 60 days. Now, folks, you know, if you keep up with duck hunting, if you keep up with waterfowl hunting, Pat was one of the first people I met when I became outdoor editor to the Commercial Appeal back in '88, not 1888, but 1988, when Henry Reynolds finally retired, and I got to meet Pat and know a lot of people that touched his life, has touched my life in my almost 50 years of doing this communication type stuff. But it's good to have Pat here because he just completed, what season was that, waterfowl hunting?
My 62nd.
62nd waterfowl hunting season.
Yes, sir.
So if anybody can have a handle and will tell it like it is, it's Pat. But to make sure that we get Pat straight, on the second segment of the show, we're going to bring in his son, Stephen, okay? Because there is a connection there between the Pitts and also Ducks Unlimited, which we're going to talk to later in the show from the head scientist himself for Ducks Unlimited. Bill Cooksey is going to join us from Nashville for the National Wild Turkey Federation. For some reason, there's some duck people over there, and I just see out my window, there comes Judd Parker, Shelby. He's got the front door. So that's the fly fisher. Thank you, Pat, for signaling. You still got alert. You still.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I still got my peripheral vision.
Peripheral vision. Okay. 62 seasons, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now I'm going to set the stage for this because, I've got a few notes here, but I know a lot about Pat out of Olive Branch, Mississippi. But the story, grew up in East Tennessee, if I remember all this correctly.
Yes.
Migrated from East Tennessee over to what was in Memphis State,
right,
to go to school there, and had an opportunity to meet someone that really played an important part in Pat's life and in my life as an outdoor editor, the great and late Dr. Chubby Andrews.
Boy, I miss him. He's like a second father to me.
Get up on that microphone. It ain't going to bite you. Put it on down there. I'm making him comfortable. But Dr. Andrews, you folks, and I even brought, what did I bring there? What did I bring there, Pat?
That's a book that Dr. Chubb wrote, and I think I got 5 copies altogether.
I got one.
Yeah.
And Dr. Andrews wrote on there because he's the man that introduced me to Mr. Buck, Nash Buckingham, who in late 30s was one of the founders of became Ducks Unlimited, and the Shootin'est Gentleman. Was he was in that group, wasn't he?
He was a legend.
A legend.
Yeah. I moved to Memphis the year that Mr. Buck died. I didn't get to meet him, but
I didn't either. But I read about him through Henry Reynolds and other ones about Nash Buckingham, and learned so much about him. But then you met Dr. Andrews, and it changed your life, didn't it?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Talk about that.
Well, he got me started in taxidermy, but
Yes, he did.
Yeah, we hunted Beaver Dam, gosh, I don't know how many years, every Thursday and Saturday.
Every Thursday and Saturday.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And we shot the last case of ammo that John Olin had given to Mr. Buck.
Whoa, wow.
And we shot it through Bo Whoop 2.
You did shoot it through Bo Whoop, too.
And, Dr. Chubb, he called everybody's son.
He did.
Yeah.
And they were. I mean, that's how he treated people, like his son.
Everybody was his family.
Yeah.
But, he'd call a shot on a duck on top of the cypress, and you could just crush it with that gun, and he'd say, Dr. Chubb was moving that barrel for you. And Mr. Buck was, rather.
Yeah.
And,
but you were there. I think you said you were there when Dr. Andrews passed.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we were the day he passed away.
And that was I'm looking at it here, that was in 2005.
Right.
And he was at the age of 84.
Mm-hmm.
And then probably one of the most memorable funerals I'd ever attended was his funeral. And the compassion was in that room.
It was bittersweet, but it was more of a celebration.
It was. That's what he wanted.
And I mean, that's what Dr. Chubb would have wanted. I mean, so many people were touched by it.
Yes, including me and you and anybody else in this book, this great book that says so much about the life of Nash Buckingham and the Shootin'est Gentleman,
Mm-hmm.
and all those things like that. I just wished I'd had a chance to meet Nash Buckingham. But
I would have too. Dr. Chubb gave me Nash Buckingham's Nilo hat pin from Nilo Farms that
really
I still wear on my hunting hat today.
You still wear it?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's a testament to the length, and so we're going to talk to him when we get his son Stephen to come in. We're going to really talk about duck seasons and how they have evolved over the years with ups and downs. And I've always said the duck hunter is the most optimistic person that I know starting the season. Now,
At the beginning.
that's what I said. I said start.
Yeah. Well, I'm optimistic that I'm going to have another one.
That's it. I mean, because how many times in the 60-day season did you get to hunt?
60 days.
You hunted 60 days.
Yeah, and that's not counting teal season and early spec season. And, I hunted every day.
And tell him how old you are.
I'm 77.
He's just a pup, folks. I know. I've got him by 4 years, and I'm about to be 5. But so what is it, Pat, as we get prepared to talk about this past season, what makes you go, what is that about being a duck hunter?
I don't ever want to get the call from one of my hunting buddies that you should have been here. I mean,
you're there.
Yeah, I'm there. You can't kill them on the couch, and you can't change history, and you can't predict the future.
But there are days that I said, do I want to get up at 3:30?
Oh, yeah. I have them all the time, but I look, my dog's sitting there wagging her tail saying, let's go.
And so you go.
Oh, yeah.
And so you're still hunting at the Languille
Lounge Duck Club.
Lounge. You got that lounge in there. Don't just say the Languille Hunt Club.
No, I started it in '92.
Okay. And it's on the Languille River.
Yeah, we're right at the headwaters of the Languille.
How far are you from Claypool?
I can see Claypool Woods from my back door. Oh, yeah.
Where Dave Garraway and the Today Show and all that, 300,000 ducks.
Yeah.
I've heard different numbers.
Of course, I knew Johnny Riley well, and he was a good friend. And miss him, too.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing about it. It's not all about numbers. What is it about?
Memories.
It is, isn't it?
That's right.
Yeah. Camaraderie.
Yeah. I can't remember what I had for breakfast this morning.
Yeah.
But I can remember a shot one of my sons made on a duck, or a retrieve that one of my dogs made that was next to impossible, or my grandkids in the pit. I mean, it's just, there's a lot more to it.
So how many dogs are you into now?
This is number 9.
This is number 9.
Mm-hmm.
And what's the name of this dog now?
This is the first female I've ever hunted. Chris Aiken, bless his heart, he's made me several, 4 or 5 dogs, but got her from Chris. She's dual title dog.
How old is she?
Yeah, she's 10.
She's 10. What's her name?
Tilly.
Tilly. That's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah. She loves it as much as I do, and
so she's 90 in dog years. I mean,
yeah.
And so you tag along with Tilly then.
Oh yeah.
Tilly keeps you going then.
Yeah, she's a good one though. I mean, I tell people it costs just as much to feed a good one as it does a bad one.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And in the evolution of the sport itself, Pat, what would you say is the biggest change between now and when you started, besides camo and patterns?
Well, we used to get our hunting clothes from Army surplus.
You did. We did. Yes.
Yeah. OD green. That's it.
Yeah.
And wool when it got
olive
wet.
Olive drab.
Yeah. When it got wet, it weighed 100 pounds. But duck hunting's gotten a lot more comfortable now for not only adults but kids. They got specialized clothing. They got all this high-tech stuff, Gore-Tex, Insulate. Nobody wears neoprene waders anymore.
No.
But the heritage of waterfowl hunting is slipping away.
Slipping away?
I think.
All right. The heritage is, and that's based on...
Well, people don't sometimes appreciate the resource.
Yes.
They want the biggest tailgate full of birds. They want the biggest pile.
Yeah.
It's gotten to be a competition. They'll shoot a hen mallard just to put on the strap.
Yeah.
But
you still have rules at your place too.
Oh yeah.
No spinning wing decoys.
None at all.
All right. You have gone back a little bit on the ATVs.
Well, with the pressure from my wife and my sons, I got a Can-Am a couple of years ago after I had a heart attack in 2011. But my knees are shot, and there's a couple of fields that when they're in beans, I just can't walk them anymore. Well, I can, but I'd have to leave the day before.
Well, he mentioned his sons, and we're going to take a break here. We got Pat Pitt in studio. Judd Parker, are you here?
I am.
He's here over there. All right, so let's take a break, come back, and we're going to make sure that what Pat's saying, we have an interpreter coming up with us on the next segment on Outdoors with Larry Ray. Let's take a break, and we'll be right back.
Welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray, brought to you by the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency, B&M Poles, and Ducks Unlimited.
Hey, welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray on AM 790 right here in Memphis, Tennessee, every Saturday morning from 9 to 10:30. And we're kind of touching a lot of bases that we do every day as we roll into our 25th year on the air, part of the Odyssey family of radio stations, and devoting a lot of today's show to the a recap, so to speak, of the 2024-25 waterfowl season, particularly duck hunting. And we have the man himself, the legendary Pat Pitt, in the room. Good Saturday morning, Pat. Are you ready to talk to your son now?
Well,
when's the last time you've talked to Stephen? I mean,
we just about talk every day.
Okay, I just want to make sure that he's not expecting anything.
Well, during hunting season, we sometimes talk 2 or 3 times a day.
Well, he wants to find out where you are, but it's good to have Pat in. And now we're going to bring in his son, Stephen, who is the project coordinator for our good friends at Ducks Unlimited, which we are proud to announce again as part of the Outdoors of Larry Ray sponsorship this year, and really appreciate those guys out there. Good Saturday morning, Stephen.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good to be here.
All right, we've talked. Now, he's kind of giving us a breakdown. Now, we want to talk about this past season. we want to recap here. I've got your dad sitting here. Before I unleash him, if that's the right word, I don't know. That's what he does with Tilly, I know. But talk about, from your point of view, Stephen, what's it like to hunt with this man here? I mean, what do you have? How old were you when you tagged along with your dad?
The earliest that I can remember was when I was 4 years old. That's my first recall of a duck hunt. It was a September early season Arkansas duck hunt there. That's the first time I can actually remember. I might have been before then, but that's my earliest memory of it.
4 years old. Okay, 4 years old, tagging along with him.
Carried him on my back.
You carried him on your back.
Yeah. And then
now does he carry you on his back now?
He's paying me back.
He's paying you back.
Yes,
okay.
Sir.
So I know we've had a 60-day season. He says he was there every day. Does he know that? I mean, he was there, right? I mean.
Oh, he didn't. Yeah, he didn't miss a day. Didn't miss a day. So I mean, he stuck with it through the thick and the good and the bad.
Well, let's talk about it now, Stephen and Pat. Let's expound on this past season, because I told your dad earlier, Stephen, that there's no more optimistic person in the world than a duck hunter before the season.
Oh yeah.
So let's talk about, Pat, how was the season?
Wasn't the worst, but it certainly wasn't the best.
Break that down for me. You're a man of figures. You keep all that stuff.
Oh, I've got records going back.
You do. I know it.
Yeah,
you are a record. So
it was one of those seasons where you had to be there every day. I mean, I had 3 zeros.
You had 3 zeros
this year. Yep.
Is that compared to what is that? Have you had 3 zeros before? You had?
No. I mean, that's like having a birthday party and nobody showed up. I mean,
but your son showed up. I mean.
Oh yeah. I mean, he, my 2 boys and my grandkids, Reed, my grandson, Stephen's son.
Yeah.
He'd quit school to go duck hunting.
Oh
yeah. But being with them was the highlights. Kill a duck or not was a bonus.
Yeah.
Watching a young dog that Stephen has now work, and he's going to be a world beater too. He's a good dog.
Talk about that, Stephen. What's it like to? I mean, some people. My dad was a used car salesman. He was sure I was going to grow up to be a used car salesman. I'm sorry I wasn't. Okay, I ended up getting paid for being able to type fast and think fast and talk fast. But talk about it. Is it to hunt with your dad? What does that mean to you and your sons too now?
It means the world to me to be able to share a blind with my son and him at the same time. Be able to kind of see it from both sides of it. My dad taking me and I'm taking my son, and added bonus to be able to hunt with my dad all at the same time is pretty special. Pretty special to all of us.
Well, he said y'all got 3 zeros this year.
Yeah, luckily I was not a part of any of those zeros.
Whoa! Well, now we're finding out. Yes.
Now, some of them weren't much better than a zero. But a lot of single digits.
Yeah.
Single digits for sure. But no, luckily for me, I didn't hit a zero this year. But then again, I didn't get with the full limit of ducks as a group of hunters that we're with until I guess it was right there when we had that snow in early January.
Yeah.
I mean, it was later in the season where you had a group of guys that I was hunting with that we had got to stop at a limit for a change. A lot of times where there was 3 or 4 of us and we come out with 8 to 10, 12 ducks. You know, so it was a lot of half limits and 1 limit type hunts. So it our better hunts didn't come for us until later on in January.
All right, we'll talk. Your dad's got opinions, I know. So let's hear them. I mean, I want to know what's going on. What's going on? Give it to us, Stephen. What's your opinion?
Well, I mean, I think we all agree it was a very, very warm winter up until this last few weeks. That and dry. I mean, we can't argue that. I mean, I think we needed more water and we needed colder weather to put the ducks down here, because without the cold weather pushing down, they're not going to come. And then if we don't have the water for them to be here, they get stressed and pressured out and move out. So I think until we got both those here, that's when we started killing birds, and I think it's kind of hard to argue against that.
What about Pat? Talk about the migration patterns that we've had.
Well, patterns have changed. I mean, pressure. Makes patterns change.
Yeah.
I mean, if you go to a certain part of town and get beat up every day, you're not going to go there anymore.
That's right. So the ducks are getting beat up sometimes.
It's just that simple. And the amount of pressure, understand this,
Yeah.
not counting dove season in September, but from the middle of September till the end of April,
Yes.
waterfowl are getting shot at
Yes.
somewhere.
Uh-huh.
And these birds have learned to gravitate to areas where there's less pressure. I mean, we're dealing with something with a brain the size of a peanut, and they can outthink us. But people complain about, well, the big clubs are holding all the ducks. Well, yeah, they got rest areas, but all these ducks from surrounding areas are learning to stay there all day and fly at night and move. I mean, it's just almost common sense figuring out what's happening.
Well, we're going to come up with a segment later in the show, and I think that Stephen knows who that guest might be. I mean, he is the DU senior waterfowl scientist, and we're going to talk to Mike a little bit about that and the changing patterns and the rules and regulations that we go by and set by the feds and things along that line. But there's just something about, and Stephen, I did bring along my my Chubby Andrews book here, signed by Dr. Andrews, and I'm going to get your dad to autograph it too because
oh, neat, yeah.
I mean, because when I look at that book, I think of Dr. Andrews, and as soon as I laid it down there, your dad said he's got 5 copies of it, something like that, and I want to do that. But growing up in the Pitt family, what was it like?
Well, I mean, it was just a.
Were you expected to be a duck hunter?
Yeah, almost definitely, most definitely.
Okay.
I mean, it was the wealth of knowledge in this, not just my dad, but the group of friends that he ran around with was just everybody there was serious about it. It was, Dad didn't tend to hang out with the newbies. He wanted to hang out with the guys just like him, and was just as serious about it as him. So the knowledge that I got to soak up at a young age was just so much beneficial to me.
And that's one thing that duck hunting is at the front, I think. Now, Pat, we agree on that I wasn't privileged to have that in my life, but I had an uncle who was at Normandy and won a Purple Heart that knew to take me to squirrel hunt and things along that line. While my dad was making dollars, I was invested in that, and that's really what you want to do. And it's, Pat,
I gave my boys a choice. I mean, you can have a piano or you can have a Benelli, whichever one you want.
I wished I'd had that choice.
It's just that simple.
My dad gave me a trumpet.
But Stephen would have been a pretty good football player when he was in high school. He learned pretty quick that on Fridays I was going to the duck camp and he was out there getting run over by a big guy.
Is that about right, Stephen?
Yeah. I kind of peaked at my growth at about 8th grade, and a lot of kids are a lot bigger and stronger and faster than me. So I was like, I can't see myself in a future, college-wise. So I said, I think I'd rather enjoy my Saturdays and Sundays out there in the duck pit.
So what's it like to being in the duck blind with your dad and some of the cast of, I'm not going to say characters, but there are.
Oh, they're characters.
Okay, there are
every one of them.
Yeah, we got that, Shelby. We get that in there. Don't cut that out. So what's it like to be in the blind? Because I don't think there's more camaraderie when it comes to anything than waterfowl hunting. So talk about that, growing up in that blind.
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot of, teaching moments. There was a lot of, I'm doing this because of that. They're doing this because we're doing that. So, I mean, it was like a crash course every time we went hunting of things to learn. And, never 2 hunts were the same. So, I was exposed to a lot of different scenarios. And, of course, Dad, made sure we traveled a lot. I mean, we got to go. Our first hunts was, I can remember going to Texas when I was, 10, 11 years old, going with him to Texas. And, he took us to, he's, made sure where I've got to experience hunting all 4 different flyways. So, I mean, seeing different ways people hunt, you just kind of, pick and certain things that work for them and bring it back to here to our place and try it out, and it works. So the exposure he got us to was second to none. I think a lot of kids at my age didn't have that that opportunities that he gave us.
And Pat, that's been probably the legacy. We use that word kind of flippantly, but it's an important thing to pass down.
You've got to pass down to the future generation.
And it's harder to pass down now. I think it is.
Well, it is, and to a fault, I'm bad to say in one sentence what a lot of people take a paragraph to say. But when I'm in a duck pit, I'm not out there to hold hands and walk into the sunset.
Yeah.
I mean, we're focused on what we do, and the boys have picked that up. Stephen's son, Reed, I mean.
How old's Reed?
He's 9.
He'll be 10 in March.
Okay.
So he's got a birthday coming up.
Happy early birthday, Reed. So what were you saying there?
St. Patrick's Day.
St. Patrick's Day.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
But that little boy's dedicated. I mean, he'd stay in the pit all day long and pouring down rain.
Well, I got to tell you, we got to close this segment out. But while y'all were duck hunting, every weekend during my growing up days, I went to Chicago. My dad bought back 6 cars from Chicago, okay? I was in the back seat going to Chicago with a used car salesman. Anyway, Stephen, thank you, buddy. We got him here. We're going to keep him for a while. We'll let you know when we let him go. Okay, buddy? All right?
I'll check on him.
All right, buddy. Thank you. Thank you for that.
All right, Larry.
All right, thanks. All right, let's take a break on the Outdoors of Larry Ray. We'll be right back because we're going to talk a little Mid-South fly fishing. Big event coming next weekend. They're going to have to get him from God's country to come over here, though. I know that. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray, brought to you by the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency, B&M Poles, and Ducks Unlimited.
Hey, good Saturday morning. Welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray on this, Valentine's weekend. I hope everybody is taken care of and had a good Valentine's yesterday. I went to Walgreens and got my wife a Valentine's card. I gave her my debit card. I gave her a $20 bill, and she gave me back $6. I said, whoa, now I just got a card here. She said, well, that card was $10.99. So I didn't buy any roses for my wife. I got her a nice card and wrapped it up and gave it to her.
Nice.
But I hope some of you folks had a great Valentine's Day. I'm not going to ask what Pat Pitt might have done. But, hey, we're going to kind of switch gears a little bit on Outdoors with Larry Ray as we what we call the fastest 90 minutes in outdoor radio programming, and take a break for a little waterfowl and talk about a big event we mentioned earlier coming to the Memphis area on February the 23rd. And I've got Judd Parker of the Mid-South Fly Fishers in here studio this morning. Good morning, Judd.
Hey, thanks, Larry. Thanks for having me here.
Good to have you. Know Judd for a long time and got him in the studio. And as Judd said, he needs 3 bodyguards. And so we got Judd as the interpreter because this big event is coming up on the 23rd, as I said. And, Judd, we got 3 guests on the line right now.
Yeah, we do.
Why don't you introduce these guys?
Yeah, man. Thank you, Larry. Very important guests, too. So the event on the 23rd is actually to host a very well-known guide here in the Mid-South who is from Memphis, actually, but lives in Arkansas now. I would call him an Arkansas resident for sure. It's Jamie Rouse, Orvis endorsed guide and outfitter, guide of the year multiple times. We're really happy to have Jamie. It's the first time he's been back. He's been so busy. First time he's been back here and really going to give us a great opportunity to meet and mingle with him, not just do fish pictures, but talk about the environment over there and really lean into what fishing is like in Arkansas. But the great thing is the Mid-South Fly Fishers has been able to align with Flyway Brewery.
A great location for a fly fishing event.
Absolutely. Outdoors to the max, right? So some new owners over there. I've got Brian Bazer as well as Scott Tashie on the call too, and they are the owners, and so we want to talk to them about what that brewery's like and what they have to offer there. But man, what a great place to host!
It's going to be fun, and again, that's the 23rd. And first, before I bring in Scott and Brian, I want to throw in Jamie because just getting Jamie over here with this great organization. Talk about, Jamie, what you're going to offer when you come over. And first of all, good Saturday morning, Jamie.
Hey, thanks for having me. Thank all you guys, and hi. And Flyway. I'm excited to come. You're right. I haven't been there in a while, and I'm fired up about it. Like Judd said, I'm going to talk a little bit about just health of the river. We're going to do normal things too. I'm sure we'll look at cool fish pictures and talk all that. But It's going to be a real it's going to be different. I want to be available to talk about where it goes, kind of be more free-flowing, a little bit more organic, and kind of see where the subjects takes,
That's the way to do it. And, of course, you're based out of Heber Springs, and we all know there's more Memphis people go to the Little Red than I think go to any place else, maybe except Oakland. I don't know. But
no, you're right.
I mean, that's a proving ground for a lot of us. That's where I caught my first trout a long time ago. That's where I was with the late Dan Berry, and it's probably the fastest trip I've ever made, the Little Red. We went over there. He caught about a 20-inch brown, and a snowstorm hit, and we turned around and came back to Memphis. But I know that. But so good to have you, Jamie. And then, of course,
thanks for having me.
Of course, also we've got Brian, who is the GM at Flyway Brewing. And of course, then we got Scott Tashie. He is the owner for Flyway Brewing. Brian, throw us in a little bit about the facility itself.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we're really excited to host this event. Scott and I are both avid fly fishermen, and I caught my first trout over on the Little Red, so really excited to see Jamie and hear him speak. And when Judd first contacted us about this event, we couldn't have been more excited to host this. So we are really pumped up about it. The brewery is on Monroe Avenue. We're right around the corner from Sun Studio, about a block and a half away from the AutoZone baseball stadium where the Redbirds play. So we're right in the Edge District, right on the edge of downtown. We've got an amazing full-scale brewery operation. We've got a great tap room. We've got a fantastic scratch restaurant with some TVs all over the place showing games. We're going into basketball season with the Grizzlies. Going to make a playoff run. We've got all the Grizzlies games on TV here. Really great kitchen. We do some really amazing food. We've got some duck tenders, some venison sliders. We've got a full smoke program with smoked wings. But, the most important part of it for us is the beer. So we've got these amazing Flyway beers that we're really, really proud to be brewing right here in Memphis with that good Memphis water. Our Blue Wing Blueberry Wheat is just fantastic. The Flyway Light is a light American Pilsner. We've got the classic high cotton beers that we do as well. We've got the Mexican Lager, the Scottish Ale, and our really, really brand new recipe for our River King Hazy IPA that we've got just a great brewery team here with Teddy Pepper, our head brewer, that just runs a fantastic operation back there. So we've got some really cool stuff going on up here at the tap room in the brewery. We do live music a couple times a month. We've got a comedy show. It's the last Saturday of every month. We host trivia on Tuesday. So we've got some really cool stuff and, just a really neat neighborhood that we're in. So we're excited to kind of show it off with the convention and then, hopefully get some other folks out to come check us out.
Scott, I don't know what else you can say now, but if you got something else to throw in there, because I don't know. Your background is not in this, right, Scott? I mean,
all I can say is well said, Brian.
Good job.
Well, that's why he's the GM.
That's right.
But,
That's his job.
Man, he's way more than a GM to that place. I'll tell you what. No, we're excited, and Flyway it's a great place. We opened a restaurant in Little Rock, and Matt Foster, who actually started Flyway, and I got to be good buddies and just talked a lot about the outdoors and fishing and hunting and just.
And the name itself fits perfectly.
Absolutely.
Flyway.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, we are when we were talking, we thought, what better of a good location than Memphis, Tennessee on the Mississippi River.
Yeah.
The epicenter of duck hunting and just hunting and outdoors in general. And I know we're more than just an outdoors lifestyle brand of beer and food, but just to be able to showcase that to the people who do love the outdoors, it was just, it was kind of an instant hit there. with him coming to Memphis and partnering up with us and opening this together and, expanding into the Nashville market and just really growing flyweight in the state of Tennessee. So, yeah, we're pumped, man.
And I know, Jamie, you're listening and all this, and Judd can't wait to say some more here. Yeah. But I know, Jamie, an opportunity to this area. This is a hub for fly fishing, too, man. I know the Mid-South fly fishers have been around since Christopher Columbus, I think, Judd.
That's correct. That's right. Yeah, came across on the
on one of the boats.
One of the boats.
Yeah.
Nina Pinta
heck, I traveled all the way to Alaska a long time ago and ended up guiding there for many years. And I got all the way out there only to find out that probably 90% of our clients were from Memphis.
Is that right? Yeah. And I'm sure that's you're in the hotbed there at Heber as far as that, and you've used that in your Memphis background. So I know you're looking forward to come here, and I know, Judd, you've got some things. Somebody's going to get a trip with Jamie.
Yeah. Jamie's been really nice to offer. We're actually going to do a opportunity to fish with Jamie.
Whoa!
Which is really cool. And we're doing it kind of as a draw. $25 a ticket. As many tickets as you want to buy. It's unlimited.
Yes.
You don't have to be present to win. You can actually order tickets off msff.org, our website for Mid-South Fly Fishers. And we're going to draw that night. You don't have to be present to win, but we're going to draw that night for an opportunity to fish with Jamie. Golly, I'm probably
for 25.
Don't tell Lori how many tickets I'm going to buy, but I'm sure we will buy a bunch of tickets at some point. But just an opportunity to fish with Jamie. I've known Jamie since probably, help me, Jamie, early 90s, long time.
Yeah, absolutely.
And,
So, since the entirety of the time I've been doing this, if it hadn't been for Judd, I don't know.
Well, Judd,
this goes all the way back to probably Old Lodge Outfitters.
Oh, my goodness. Rusty Griffin.
Rusty Griffin.
Yeah. I think that may be where I met Judd back in those days. I still go by there and see where it used to be. Buck and Bass and all. Now you're really aging me now.
Yeah, but, that's right. Even Buck and Bass. You're right.
Even Buck and Bass in those years. But I know it's going to be a great event. And, again, that's at the Flyway Brewing. That's 598 Monroe Avenue, about a block away where I spent almost 34 years at the Commercial Appeal.
That's
now
right.
It's going to be a hospital. I thought it was a hospital when I worked there for a lot of derelicts, But it's a great location. 2 to 3 social hour, 3 to 4 presentation by Jamie.
That's right.
4:15 to 4:45. An educational tour of the brewery itself.
Yeah, absolutely. The guys are really nice to open it up to us to get a chance to take a peek behind the curtain, see how all that works, which is, we're all kind of geeks for fly tires. And Pat was talking about all the feathers that he gives out, and so we're all kind of geeky, so that's going to really be right up our alley.
Well, I appreciate all of y'all taking time to be with us on Outdoors with Larry Ray. I wanted to get it in. Judd been all the schedules, got us all organized here and everything, but I look forward to dropping by and seeing y'all sometime down there, and I tried to keep up with these fly fishers. I tell you what, they're busy people, Jamie. I know that.
Come on with it.
And folks, you're eligible to join that club too.
Please do.
If you're wanting to learn how to fly fish, I'm the only guy that flunked casting school 3 times with Dan Barry.
Yeah, I heard.
You did hear. Yeah, they got a plaque over there someplace with a little red. For me and Rip Collins, we're all together there with our 40-pound rainbow. But again, guys, thank y'all for taking time. And it's always a privilege to publicize the Mid-South Fly Fisher. Go to the
MSF.org is kind of our hub.
Yes.
It's also a lot on social media. That's one of the things that we've really done a good job with is pushing out on social media. I know the DU guys push a lot on social.
Yeah.
That's why our club has really grown in the last couple of years. We're getting a younger crowd. Pat talked about the need to build that legacy from ground up. That's where we are.
Yeah.
And, man, it's powerful. And then you get guys like the Flyway guys, to come alongside us and offer us a place to do meetings every month, so there's consistency there. I mean, it's phenomenal.
Tell us, Jamie, where they can get information about you, buddy. I know you got a website, probably.
Yeah, rouseflyfishing.com.
That's it. And how about y'all, Brian? You got a website for that Flyway Brewing?
Yeah, nice and easy. It's flywaybrewing.com, and then we're on social as well. You can find us on there.
All right, buddies. We'll have all this posted on my website, LarryRay.com. Thank you, guys. Y'all have a great weekend. Hope everything goes great, Judd. Thank you, buddy.
You bet.
Right.
Thanks, Larry.
We'll talk to you guys.
Thank you, Larry.
All right. Bye-bye.
All righty.
All right. Let's take a break on Outdoors with Larry Ray. We're going back to waterfowl. Pat's going to sleep. We've got to get him going here. We'll be right back on Outdoors with Larry Ray.
Welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray, brought to you by the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency, B&M Poles, and Ducks Unlimited.
Hey, good Saturday morning. Welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray. The fly fishing people have left the building, as they say. And so appreciate Judd Parker and all the group from the Mid-South Fly Fishers talking about the big event coming up next February the 23rd. So we'll get back to duck talk now. Pat Pitt, you're back up and ready to go. You've learned a little about it. He was already telling the guy where to go in Bahamas. I never know what I'm going to learn when I got Pat along here. But our man Bill Cooksey.
That's where you go in the Bahamas.
That's where
Green Turtle Key.
That's what he just said. Yeah. Bill Cooksey is joining us now. He's in Nashville for the National Wild Turkey Federation ongoing, representing the Tennessee Wildlife Federation. And I wanted to throw Bill in here in this segment as we prelude into Mike Brasher. Brasher?
Bazer.
That's good. Brasher, who is the DU senior waterfowl biologist on the next segment. But I got Cooksey and Pitt on the same segment. I could have just lay back and let you talk to each other. Because neither one of
you don't have that kind of time.
Neither one of them has an opinion.
Well,
you know what I mean?
ducks tremble when they hear our names.
Well, let's tremble on here. I mean, we got all the good stuff out of the way, Cooksey, because Stephen was on and Pat was at his best. You know, didn't want him, with his son on the line with him. But we got two guys on the line right now, and we're going to talk to Mike, and I'm hoping that Bill can hang over. Pat's going to hang over and listen to what Mike has to say about this past season. So we've heard from Pat. He had 3 zeros this past season. He's never had that before.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you reply to that, Cooksey?
Well, when a man hunts every day, sooner or later those odds have to catch up with him.
And he did hunt 60 days, okay?
And I did not hunt every day. I did have 1 0. I hunted 3 states. I had 1 0. And honestly, it was a day when I knew leaving the house I shouldn't go hunting, but I just had to.
Why?
I just had it in me. I was, as the colonel said about turkeys, I was helpless in the grip of my compulsion. So I went. I knew it was going to be bad, and it was. It was even worse than I thought. I thought I'd shoot a duck.
So what's your take on this past season then?
Well, okay. Here's my rundown of the season.
Right.
Number one, I was happy because for the first time in 5 years, my place, my personal blind, had good water from opening day to closing day, to the second juvenile hunt, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
So that was great. And we had some ducks the whole time, and we had some good hunts. We had a couple of really good hunts. We had a lot of good hunts, and we had, quite a few slow ones where it was a handful of ducks that we shot. Had some good hunts in Missouri and Mississippi. The downside for me wasn't so much ducks, and I've modified my expectations the last several years. I mean, we
modified, okay,
and so what I call a good season now isn't what I called it in 1999.
Okay, you were younger then, as so was Pat Pitt for sure.
Well, and we had more than twice as many ducks in the pond in the counts. So the number of ducks that starts out at the top of the flyway is a big factor in how many we get down here, and we're about half what we were 7 years ago on mallards. And frankly, mallards were the problem. We just didn't have them in general. I mean, some people did well on them, but in general, we did not have the number of mallards. For me, it was well under half of what I would normally have in the places I hunted. I believe I killed 2 limits of mallards all season.
Wow.
And
Pat's shaking his head.
And neither of those were in Tennessee. Now, pintails limited just about every day I hunted. And lots of gadwalls, lots of teal, the other ducks made up for it. But if you're waiting on mallards with me this year, no matter where I hunted, you're probably going to be waiting a long time.
All right, Pat, what you say?
Well, I agree with a lot of that. I mean, we didn't get mallards till late, and everybody was saying they're just now getting here. Those are the ones that had been here.
Yeah.
They were under a rock somewhere because of the pressure.
Yeah.
Yep.
And when we had that freeze and the thaw that last Saturday of the season, I told everybody at the club, I said, be here. It's going to be epic, and it was. I mean,
You knew they were coming.
Well, oh, yeah. I mean, it wasn't my first rodeo. I knew what was fixing to happen, and God bless my guys at the club. We shot 53 greenheads, not a single hen.
Really?
Yes, sir. And I was proud of it more than anything. I mean, I got to watch my granddaughter kill her first greenhead this year, just like I did get to watch Reed last year kill his. But gadwalls, I don't think we've ever killed as many gadwalls as we had at the club. And we didn't have spoons to take out a beaten on.
Okay.
We didn't have the teal numbers.
Yeah.
I mean, it was.
We got your teal. We normally
the
don't
teal
have
went in West Tennessee.
We had them.
Yeah.
We didn't get teal in the last week of the season.
Has the migration flights changed? All right. Let's talk to that about that. Bill?
Okay, I'll talk about it. Now, there are a whole lot of theories on what's happening with migration, and these transmitter studies, I think we're learning a lot from them.
Okay.
But the final conclusions are yet to be found. We know our weather patterns have moderated, but the majority of these transmitter birds who are equipped in Tennessee come to Tennessee every year. And we had a bunch of them here in early November. And we actually had some good fronts, in November and early December. And then the weather got stable and mild again at the time of year they really ought to be feeling some cold fronts. And so we didn't get much in the way of new ducks until the very end of the season. And as Pat said, that was really, I agree with him, more ducks that were already here that had learned to stay away from people.
Yeah.
And they got stressed with all that ice and all that mess. They're stressed and they're hungry, and they get out and, just like any of us, like after COVID, when they finally said, okay, everybody can leave their houses, folks went crazy in some places.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And Pat, what do you say?
Well, I mean, I agree. Gosh dang, I agree with Bill for once.
For once, okay.
I talked to some people that have some big clubs in Arkansas, like Straight Lakes. I hunted with them.
Yeah.
They said they had most of their mallards here by Halloween weekend.
Halloween weekend.
And the data I'm seeing from these birds with the transmitters on is they'll move back up to the freeze line and then fall back. I mean, it's a yo-yo, but they're going north and then back to south. They're not coming all the way down like they normally
They're not going on through.
No.
Yeah.
And so you're basically shooting at the same ducks.
Well, now that's kind of the question I think a lot of people are starting to ask in the the biologists and all. And this will be a good one for
Mike.
For Mike.
Yeah.
And they won't have I don't think he'll have an answer because it's something they're really starting to look at, and the transmitters are helping them isolate it.
Yeah.
How much of our issues down here are weather related and not getting flight ducks later in the season, and how much of it is the fact after so many years of hunting until the end of January, we've been killing off the ducks that are prone to come here anyway.
Yeah.
All those ducks that are sitting up, say, on the Missouri River during the coldest part of winter, well, they had no gunning pressure, and they're staying up there. And I know a lot of ducks have always stayed up there, so are those birds just not getting the hunting pressure, so they're still doing what they always did, and we've been killing off our own stock?
Yeah.
It's just a question. That's not a claim or anything, but it's something I can't help but wonder about.
I think
frankly,
they've
these
learned,
years
Bill.
of January are bad, I think.
What'd you say, Pat?
I think they've learned to, we're going to stop at this McDonald's here on the Missouri River instead of flying down to Stuttgart to go to one there.
Go ahead and stop up there. Yeah.
I mean, it's not rocket science. Okay.
Again, we're talking to Pat Pitt, our waterfowl guru, if we want to call him that. I don't know what we call him, but anyway, out of Olive Branch, Mississippi. He's been doing it for over 60 years. And then, of course, our good friend Bill Cooksey, now with Tennessee Wildlife Federation, and long time with National Wildlife Federation, Vanishing Paradise, and grown up in a waterfowl hunting family, and has done that and has passed that on to his son, Bill the 12th, or whatever he is, I can't remember. And Pat, of course, has passed it on to his sons and grandsons and things like that. And that's what I want to ask both of you guys now. Getting young people involved in duck hunting, it requires a real passion to do this, because those of us who deer hunt or whatever it might be, we're going to sit in the deer stand and do what we want to, and you buy that one nice rifle if you got it or something like that. You get your ammo. You're not going to shoot that many in a year. Mm-hmm. What about participation numbers? I don't know. Well, are we up or down? Or are we having trouble recruiting? Well, okay, Bill's saying we're having trouble recruiting.
Well, I'm talking in general. I'm not just talking kids.
No, I'm talking in general. I mean,
sales have been trending down.
Somebody may have started their hunt and they got older and things have changed.
Duck stamp sales are down.
Yes,
especially in Arkansas. I mean, I keep up with that stuff, but it's if we don't get these kids involved, I mean, they're not going to be duck hunting.
Oh, we got 2 minutes, Bill. Yeah. What do you say to that?
Well, look, we just had the Davis P. Rice Youth Hunt.
Yes, I hope you brought that in.
17 years has now taken over 2,000 kids.
That's a wonderful event.
Which is great, and we need more of that all over the country.
But you need a follow-up.
Well, and that's the hard part with kids, because if there's no one taking them regular, they get that one taste, and that's great.
Yeah.
But then, hopefully a lot of times their parents, someone has to come with them. So hopefully everybody gets a little taste and it helps. If nothing else, they did get that taste, and they're probably not going to be against us in the future. But just take kids hunting. I mean, I don't have a kid anymore that's in that age group, but I was out there youth hunting last Saturday and had a ball. We had 6 kids in my blind, and I had an absolute ball hunting with all of them.
Well, I hope y'all had a chance to look at Bill's on Facebook. That picture of all them kids, that just made it worthwhile. Hey, we appreciate Pat, Bill. Y'all stick around, because we're going to get to the doctor. There'll be a doctor in the house coming up on Outdoors with Larry Ray as we switched and let our good friends at Ducks Unlimited, Mike Brasher, he is the DU Senior Waterfowl Scientist. We're going to take a break right now, and we'll come right back and continue this conversation on Outdoors with Larry Ray.
Welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray, brought to you by the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency, B&M Poles, and Ducks Unlimited.
Hey, good Saturday morning. Welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray. Yes, we're talking ducks in February. Yes, we're talking ducks the day after Valentine. Yes, we're talking ducks. We may not be able to pronounce everybody's name, but we're talking ducks. And we've got the legendary duck man himself, Pat Pitt, sitting over here. I finally brought somebody that's almost my age into the studio. I'm tired of running around with whippersnappers. And then, of course, we've got the man himself, Bill Cooksey, on the line from Nashville to the National Wild Turkey Federation. Of course, he's up there representing Tennessee Wildlife Federation. And both of you guys have kind of spurred our interest about this last waterfowl duck season primarily in the Mid-South. And so I asked my good friends at Ducks Unlimited that say, we need somebody in here to kind of balance this ship, because what I say won't mean nothing, But so I appreciate this young man coming up next, Mike Brasher. Brasher.
Yes, sir.
I got it right. Mike, thank you, buddy. Mike, of course, you folks know Mike. He's the DU Senior Waterfowl Scientist. And I'm not sure what I'm going to ask you, Mike, but I know that Pat and Bill are just fired up right now to ask your opinion on this past season. I kind of like to know from you two your perspective on the 2024-25 season.
Well, I think most people, if we talk about areas east of the Rocky Mountains, because you get over into the Pacific Flyway and you start dealing with some different weather patterns, but if you're talking about east of the Rockies, that portion of North America, I think most people would say October, November, and December were pretty poor.
Yeah.
I think for people in southern latitudes, it was really poor for most of those 3 months. It was January that ended up saving the season for a lot of people in those southern and maybe even some of those mid-latitude areas. But it was one of the little numbers I pulled earlier was that if you look at the 3-month period, October, November, and December, and look at the combined kind of temperature profile across those 3 months, this year was the warmest in the 130-year history of that record keeping for that. And that might surprise a lot of people, and it did me whenever I first went and looked at that information, because I do remember some very, very cold Arctic systems that came through, notably late November, early December. But outside of that, it was not good.
Right.
Not good at all, really, up and down the flyway outside of a few of those weather events. At least that was my experience. I did a little bit of traveling to the Midwest, upper Midwest, and then, of course, down here, stay pretty much in tune with a lot of what folks are experiencing, then down on the Gulf Coast as well. But then January is what we were all so thankful for. It was a 180 in terms of the temperature profile. It was below average temperature, snow, ice, and the good news is that when it did freeze, and I know Pat will attest to this because I saw some of his photos on his Facebook and some of his comments. The good news is it froze, but then it thawed, and I want to hear Pat talk about exactly how good that thaw was.
All right, Pat, you've been challenged by the doctor himself.
Well, four-letter words, epic.
Epic, okay.
I mean, I knew it was coming.
Yeah.
I've bought the hat and the T-shirt and been to that rodeo before, and I told everybody. Luckily, it happened on a Saturday morning and we were killing the ducks on the ice, but we had meltwater on top, and and ice was pulling away from the levees and showing water, and the mallards were hungry and stupid, and they were paired up. I would imagine 80% of the mallards we killed that day were with a hen.
Yeah.
And 80% of those hens, 100% of those hens flew away a widow. We didn't shoot them.
Yeah.
And I'm proud of my guys for that.
That's great, yeah.
But, it didn't matter if you went and got the pit at daylight or went and got the pit at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. You know, we refilled one pit 4 times.
Wow.
And this guy's just standing there on the levee
That's
watching.
why those pictures were so impressive.
Well,
yeah.
The guys were like, no big deal. I'll go out when y'all get done, because everybody got to run their dog. Everybody got to kill their limit of mallards, and we shot our mallards and got out of the field. We didn't sit out there and play with them.
And I may be wrong on this, Mike, but duck hunters are probably the most weather-watched people there is.
Oh, absolutely.
And now we have so many weather avenues to look at with all the European model, all the other models. Cooksey, you know this. I mean,
Larry, I have one guy in my blind who has 5 weather apps on his phone.
Come on.
Mm-hmm. And the joke is he just looks at all of them until he finds the one he likes best.
Well, Pitt just said he's got 3. I mean, so what is the scientist? What is the DU chief scientist? How many weather spots do you watch, Mike?
Well, I take it in from a lot of different sources, because I'm on social media a fair bit, and I somehow, and this will not surprise any duck hunter, somehow I end up getting a whole lot of posts shared with me and in my feed about weather, and even the ones that I love are these 2-week forecasts, that will show sub-zero temperatures all the way down to Florida or the Gulf Coast, and I think I have 3 apps on my phone, and then I subscribe or follow, I would guess a dozen weather-related pages or meteorologists on my social media
Do
account.
we have too much information now?
No, you pick the one you like the best.
Pick your one you like the best. That's what Cooksey was saying there. Did the people in Gulfport know they were going to get 6 inches of snow?
Man,
yes, they did.
If they were paying attention, they did.
We did too, but we got the big one before they got theirs.
Yeah.
So we had that, but again, we're talking to Mike Brasher. Brasher?
Brasher.
I'm having trouble. I have trouble with Larry Rhea, too, sometimes.
Forget the H, Larry.
Yeah, forget the H. Okay, knock the H out. But anyway, we're talking about the past duck season, looking to the future now. So everybody's kind of winding down now, looking forward to next year.
Yep.
So we're already in the planning stages for next year.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, whenever we get to this time of the year, we immediately start looking northward at the condition of the prairies, because that's the place that will swing wildly from one year to the next, or from one 5-year period to the next. And we still need something to change up there on the prairies in terms of the moisture conditions. I was listening to I was on a flyway. Actually, the Flyway Council tech sections are meeting this month.
Okay.
And so earlier this week when I was on that call, and they were talking about sort of the conditions up on the prairies, and they've got some snow up there right now. Some parts of the prairies are looking a little bit better than others, but there's still several months to go, and we need more snow, and ultimately we're going to need a little bit of precipitation once we get into the spring. Because it was still, last year on the prairies it turned out dry late in the summer, and that's carried over to where we are now.
Do we have as many people going north to hunt than we used to?
That's a good question. I would probably guess that we have. Now, are you talking about into Canada?
Yes, and Manitoba and Saskatchewan up in there, because that was always. I only got to go once. It was a lifetime trip. But I know people plot their lives around that up there. What are you shaking your head for?
What? Yeah, they go up there and shoot brown ducks over.
That's what they do. That's what we did.
Over spin wing decoys that they've never seen before.
Yeah.
And don't get me started. Gosh, you'll.
No, I don't have time, Pat. Well, that's second part too. We'll get into that. But I'm just saying now, we have so much information available through our great folks at Ducks Unlimited, whatever it might be. You can go to their website. They have tons of information, right, Mike?
Well, we do, and of course, a lot of the information that we pull on, whether it be the population numbers, harvest numbers, anything like that, that all comes from our state and federal partners. They're the ones that run those programs and do the harvest estimates and all that. But, we've got a lot of information on our website. And,
of course, the social media now, you guys do a great job of your storytelling that keeps a lot of us going throughout the summer. Cooksey, you'll believe that. There's so many good stories in waterfowl hunting that sometimes would get overlooked, I think, in the old days. And now there's nothing that has better stories. I'm looking at that Nash Buckingham book sitting there, Bill, that Chubby Andrews signed. I'm going to get Pat Pitt to sign it. I can't tell you my collection of waterfowl books are 3-to-1 compared to anything I've got on anything else. Because it is a story, it evolves year to year, right, Bill Cooksey?
Yeah. Rightly so. I've told the Dwight and Dwayne story 1,000 times to people. Bill's heard it, but anyway, it's that adds fuel to the fire.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I think it in our area it helps have DU based here. Mm-hmm. I was there when they laid the first shovel. I was out there, and the people from Chicago, Mike, were down here, all their long coats, like somebody from the gangsters, and everything, laying that out. And now you folks are the hotbed for it. Well, we appreciate you, Mike, taking time to be with us. And, Bill, you still there? Bill's gone because he had to go to a meeting.
Lost Bill.
Yeah. He was out. He's at the Turkey Federation. But thank you, Mike. Any posing question you want to ask Mike before we leave here, Pat?
I just appreciate what he's doing.
Yes.
If there's anything I can ever do to help him, I'd be more than happy to.
He's the man.
Yeah. Well, I do call on. I appreciate that, Pat. I thank you for everything that you do, and from some of our recent interactions by way of text message that I call on you every now and then. We got this little thing called duck DNA going on now, and we get a lot of these weird ducks that show up in either in my email or my text messages, and there's probably very few people that have seen more interesting ducks and laid their hands on more interesting looking ducks of different plumage characteristics than the man you're sitting there with and Pat Pitt. And so more than one occasion, I have reached out to him and asked him what he thinks is going on with one of these weird birds that I get a photo of. So thank you for that, Pat, and yeah, thanks for everything that you've done over the years. I appreciate that.
You're quite welcome.
Well, we appreciate it, Mike. Have a great weekend, and we'll stay in touch. Tell everybody hello for us, okay, Mike? All right.
Sounds great. Y'all have a great weekend.
All right, thank you. All right, we're going to take a break. We're going to let Pat slip out, and then we're heading to Ames Plantation, folks. The bird dogs are going on out there. There's 55 of them, bless their heart. So we'll be right back.
Welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray, brought to you by the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency, B&M Poles, and Ducks Unlimited.
Hey, welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray. We wrap up this week's show with one of our special guests. When I get this man on the radio with us, we're going to talk bird dogs. I've learned a lot from him. I've learned a lot over the years since I started keeping up with the bird dogs in the late 80s when Henry Reynolds passed it on to me. And the National Championship is one of my favorite events. I can't go like I used to be able to go. But the 126th running is going on right now at Ames Plantation, Monday through Saturday, weather permitting and things along that line. And so we'll be reporting throughout the week. But I wanted to talk to this guy because he's been a friend. He's a man of faith, just like me, and doesn't mind showing it all the time. But that's our good friend Gary Lester. Hey, Gary, good morning.
Hey, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing great, Gary. I know this thing means so much to you. And I know that past champions, you know how it feels to win this baby. And I know, like in 2022 when Shockwave won, and you got, 4 dogs in this thing now? You got 4?
Yes, you got 4 in it this year.
Let's talk about it, Gary, about the 4 dogs themselves. Because I'm looking at them here, and I know that you like these dogs. Shockwave, of course, won in 2022. You got Storm Chaser, you got Storm Surge, and you got Front Porch. So,
some of those dogs are not mine.
Well, I know, but they bear your name. I mean,
they do. They do.
That's what I'm calling.
Yeah, I sold a couple of those.
I know, yes, but they got your name on it, buddy. I mean, you may not have many more, but they're gonna run under the Lester name. So talk about what you got in there this year.
Well, I've got, of course, got Lester Shockwave, and he won in 22.
Yeah.
And then I've got his lettermate brother, Lester Storm Surge.
There you go. Yeah. Uh-huh.
And then I got 2 of Storm Surge sons in there. One is Miller's King Post.
Yep. Yep.
And one is Lester's Warbird. So we're kind of keeping it in the family there. You know, they all good bird dogs. And it's just if we catch the birds moving and all, I feel like any of them can win it.
Well, Gary, I know we've talked, and I talked to you on the phone, and you got to kind of wait for your time because once they draw the braces and it comes up like that, if I'm not mistaken, you're going to have 3 days in a row, right? Is that?
Well, it could be because they don't run on Sundays, see?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but you could have.
It is right now. I run Friday,
Saturday, and Monday.
Saturday, Monday, yeah.
What challenges does that present for you?
Well, that's no problem for me. I mean, I work dogs every day,
Yeah, well, what about what's a perfect weather day that you would like to have? What's a perfect weather day for Gary Lester?
Well, just cloudy, overcast, with bad weather coming in the next day,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
That's what I like. The birds got to be out feeding in that kind of weather.
Now, we know, Gary, they got 55 dogs in there. We talked about this. The most ever. And I know you got an opinion like this, and you don't mind giving your opinion. I respect your opinion. I've heard that they're not going to have more than 44 next year. I mean, that's what's going around. So, this is a challenge, isn't it, Gary?
Well, It is. Of course, the last couple of years they didn't have enough dogs.
That's right. Yeah.
And so, they changed the standards, and
made it easier to be here. I mean, it's let's be honest.
Changed it a little too much, because we got more than they really want this year. But I kind of like the standards the way they were.
Yes.
Because what we're looking for is a dog that you want to take and breed on.
That's right. Yeah.
And the old standards were tougher, and I just thought the better dog maybe, but who knows? Who knows how to work out?
But you're going to go into the third week. You just about set that. I mean.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, absolutely.
We've already had some weather. We're going to have a lot. Today being Saturday, more rain today, cold weather next week. It's just part of the game, and you've been doing this for a long time. Ken, how hard is it? And you know about this better than anybody. How many national championships you won?
6.
6. All right.
Yes, sir. And I've sold 2 dogs.
And you've sold 2 dogs that have won it. So this means a lot to you, Gary. A lot of people don't realize the physical man that you have to go through. This is a team effort, isn't it, Gary?
Oh, it's a team effort. You got your handler and your dog and your scout. I've been down in Florida, Georgia, preparing for this.
Yeah.
For a month, but they call it bird hunting, and
that's right.
Sometimes when you're hunting, things are better than others. You don't ever know just how it's going to work out.
They call it fishing and doesn't call it catching, in other words.
That's right. Yeah,
when you get down to it. But so now bird finding, I'm looking at here. We've got we've got some birds. We got some dogs that have come through Thursday of this week. I was looking. We got 3 that have had at least 5 or more finds. The birdability. We got a lot of pickups though. At the same time, when you have this many dogs competing, it just depends on. There's a lot of, I don't believe in luck. I know the Lord does things certain way, Gary.
The Lord is in control of all that.
He's got it in control of all that. But at the back of your mind, when you look ahead, and you got next week, and you got all this time to wait. Well, what goes through your mind as you have to wait? That's
well, and it changes about the weather sometimes, but of course I farm for a living, and I learned a long time ago you can't control the weather, can't do anything about it, so now you need to fretting over, So you take what's given you, do the best you can do with it.
And that's what the Lord provides. We know that, Gary. You and I talk about this a lot,
absolutely.
And it just comes with that time. So how you doing physically, man? This is not an easy job.
Well, I'm a lot better than I was a year ago.
That's what I'm telling you, Gary, because, we did a lot of praying last year, Gary. I mean,
if it hadn't been for all you good folks praying for me, I'd probably be laying up there in the cemetery. But, my health's about as good as it's been in several years now. Sure is.
That's great. Well, it's just a testimony, Gary. So what does this event mean to Gary Lester?
Well, this is the Super Bowl of bird dogs.
Yes. Yeah.
And, it's just, it's pretty exciting when you can win it.
It is, isn't it? Yeah.
And what we're doing is, only reason to have a field trial is try and figure out which dogs you need to be breeding to for good hunting.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
And, we've got lots of dogs on plantations down in South Georgia and Florida and Alabama.
Yeah.
Some down in Texas, but we're always trying to better the breed,
Well, I think undoubtedly, even though these dogs you won't be handling, it's got your name stamped on them, and your name's stamped a lot of different places. And I know you owe a lot to Farrell Miller too. We can't.
Oh yes, sir. Mr. Farrell, my mentor, he taught me. What I know about dogs. I told people that's the only reason I don't know more about dogs is I couldn't learn everything he's teaching.
Well, I can't do an interview with you, Gary, without mentioning Farrell.
Yes, sir.
Because the man that touched so many lives through his work, and man, he stood alone a lot of times out there doing, because he's got his own dogs and handling on his dogs and things along that line. Well, Gary, like I said, I don't believe in luck, boy, but I hate to tell you, but I done picked one of your dogs, okay? I'm not going to tell you which one, but...
all right, buddy. I'm not particular, just whichever one wins.
Lord willing, I'll be at the foot of Ames Plantation Manor that day, okay, Gary? All right?
I hope we do another interview when they name them.
Buddy, appreciate you. Be careful, and we look forward to seeing you, okay, Gary?
Okay, thank you, Larry.
Thank you, buddy. All right, Gary Lester, one of my all-time favorites out at Ames. He's riding a horse right now, folks. I tell you, he's out there. But let me tell you about next week's show, if Shelby can take care of me, all right? Ron Wong and Bill Cooksey, I hope, will be in. I know Ron will be in studio. We're going to talk to Scott Williams. Always love to talk to Scott, President and CEO, Discovery Park of America. We might be able to wangle some tickets from Scott up there, but a lot of big things going on. And we can't have Scott without talking to Marty Marbury. Marty's had some health issues, but she'll be back with us next week. We talk about her. And down the road, folks, we're already laying down some information. In 2 weeks, we're going to talk to Tandy Darby. That's right, Tandy Darby, about their shooting preserve he's got up there in West Tennessee. Going to talk to him. And, of course, Linda Powell, the great Linda Powell, is going to be with us. I'm getting a shotgun from Mossberg for turkey season this year. And I'm going through Linda Powell. I can't wait to get that 20 gauge, 6 pounds it weighs, and it's going to be easy for me to do. But before I go, I want to remind all of you folks, I'll be out at the Mid-South Sports and Boat Show this weekend at the Agri Center, 10 o'clock this morning, 11 o'clock Sunday. See you out there. Anyway, I appreciate all you folks out there. Appreciate our sponsors, Ducks Unlimited, Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency, and, of course, the good folks at B&M Poles. If you'd like to be a sponsor, go to LarryRay.com. Click on that link. It'll tell you what the sponsors are. Go to there for all the information we have. Shelby McCall, thank you for taking care of us. And as I always do, it doesn't cost an extra cent to be a good sport. God bless the USA.